hoite Narada Mahati Narada hoite Vyasa Madhvaka Vyasa Dasa Purna Prajna Padmana Bhagavati Hari Madhava Vamse Akshobhya Paramahamse Shishya Bodhi Angi Karakore Akshobhyera Shishya Jaya Tirthaname Parijaya Saradasya Ganasindhu Tore Tahoite Daya Nidhi Taradasa Vidya Nidhi Rajendra Hoilo Tahoite Tahara Kinkara Jaya Dharmaname Parijaya Parampara Janavalomote Jaya Dharma Dasya Kyati Shri Purushottama Jati Hoite Brahmanya Tirtha Suri Vyasa Tirtha Tara Dasa Lakshmi Pati Vyasa Dasa Tahate Madhavendra Puri Madhavendra Puri Vara Shrisha Vara Shri Ishvara Tyananda Shri Advaita Vibhu Ishvara Puri Kedanya Kori Rena Shri Chaitanya Jagat Guru Gora Mahaprabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya Rupanuga Janera Jivana Shambhara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Roswami Rupa Sanantana Rupa Priya Mahajana Vyagara Gunatana Radha Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Bara Narottama Seva Para Tarapara Vishnavaita Vishnavata Bhakta Sata Bala Deva Jagannatha Vinoda Mahabhagavata Vara Shri Gora Kishora Vara Haribhajanete Daramoda Shri Vaishabhana Vivara Sada Sevya Seva Pada Harayanite Dasanama Prabhupada Antaranga Sri Swarupa Rupanuga Shri Keshava Bhakti Pragyana Gaudiya Vedanta Vedamaya Vadatamahata Gauravani Prachara Chadama Parashila Gauravani Bhakti Vedanta Swami Gauralila Babu Parakama Keshapriya Mahajan Vamana Narayanana Gauravani Pradepanadana He Sabari Jana Gaurangera Nija Jana Tarararu Chitte Morakama Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Vrindavan 36. Vrindavanavasi jato Vaishnavera gana Pratame badana kori Sabadacharana Nilacharavasi jato Mahaprabhu gana Pumite podiya bando Sabadacharana Navadvipavati jato Mahaprabhu bhakta Sabhadacharana Hoya Anurakta Mahaprabhu Bhakta Jato Korade Chistiti Nati Re she re she ba se Gorangera gana Urva bahu kori bando Sabara tarana Oyachena hoi bena Prabhu jaito jasa Sabhara charana bando Dante kori dasa Brahmanda tarite shakti dare dane jane Evera purane guna gaya deva shune Mahaprabhu gana sabapati tapavana Tailo be moi papilo inusharana Bandana torite moi atto shakti dori Tama buddhi doshe moi damba matra kori Tatapi mukera bhagya manara ulasa Dosa chami moadhame koro nijadasa Siddhi hai yama banda chute Jagate durlava hai prema dana lute Mane ravasana puna Achirate hoya Devaki nandana dasa Elo bekaya Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Vaishnav Thakur, oh hey Vaishnav Thakur. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. 200. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi, Gaura Bhaktavinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedara Kori Swaparashada Siya Dhamma Sahavatari Adyanta Durlava Pema Kori Baredana Shikaye Charana Gati Pakatera prana Dainyatmani vedana Goptripe barana Avasya raksive Krishna Vishvasa palana Bhakti anukula matra Karyada svikara Bhakti pratikula bhava Parjanangikara Sharanga sharanagati O vibhejahara Tahara pratana sune Srinanda kumara Rupasanatana pade Dante trina kori Pakati vinora pade Juhu paradori Kadiya kadiya bole Amido vadama Shikaye sharanagate Karo he utama Jaya swapashara jaya gora hari Swapashara jaya gora hari Would anyone like to sing for Gordy Tai? You would?
Page. Do both together or one then the other? Gordon. Page 86. page 86. Guranga Bodhite Habe Uraka Sharira Hari Hari Bonitena Yane Babenira Araka Gorite Habe Uraka Sharira Hari Hari Bonitena Yane Babenira Araka Benita Jare Karuna Hoibe Kabrit Samsara Vasana Mora Kabetu Ruchahabe Araka Benita Jare Karuna Hoibe Samsara Vasana Mora Kabetu Chahabe Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shurahabe Mahana Kabe Hamaherabo Shri Vrindavana Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shurahabe Mahana Kabeha Maherabo Shri Vrindavana Rupara Gunata Pade Hoibe Akuti Gabeha Mabuja Bose Jugana Piriti Rupara Gunata Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabeha Mabuja Bose Jugana Piriti Rupara Gunata Pade Rahumora Asha Partana Karo Yesada Narottama Dasa Rupara Gunata Pade Rahumora Asha Partana Karo Yesada Narottama Dasa Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Goda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Goda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Goda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Goda Hari Jaya Kali Yuga Pavana Hari Nama Kali Yuga Pavana Hari Nama Jaya Kali Yuga Pavana Hari Nama Kali Yuga Pavana Hari Nama.
Shri Hari Vasari Hari Kirtana Vidhana Nicharam Vila Prabhu Jagatera Prana
Punyavanta Shiva Sangha Aneshu Baramba Utilo Kirtana Dwani Gopala Govinda Mridanga Mandira Bhaje Shankakaratala Sankirtana Sangye Sabha Oilo Mishala Brahmanda Bedilo Dwani Puriya Kasha Chodikera Mangala Jaya Sabanasha Ushakala Hoite Nitya Kore Vishwambara Juta Juta Hoilo Jato Kayana Sundara Shivasa Pandita Loya Eka Sampradaya Mukunda Loyara Janakato Gaya Loya Govinda Gosha Kato Jana Kora Chandra Nitya Save Korena Kirtana Toriya Bulena Nitya Nanda Mahabali Alakshite Advaita Loy Hena Paratuli Gadadhara Hari Jato Sajalanayane Anande Vivala Hoilo Prabhuda Kirtane Chakona Udanda Nache Prabhu Vishwambara Prithvi Kampita Hoya Sarve Payatara Kakonava Madhurana Jai Vishwambara No taking Anjeranan Dananatavara Aparupa Krishna Visha Aparupa Nitya Anande Nayana Bodhi Teke Sabha Britya Nijanande Nache Mahaprabhu Vishwambara Sharanera Tala Shuniyati Manohara Baba Bade Malana Hirohe Agalaya Chindiya Padaya Giya Pakatera Paya Chaturdike Sri Hari Mangala Sankirtana Maje Nache Jagannatha Mishra Nandana Charanama Nande Shiva Vasana Najane Chara Chache Nache Shiva Se Nache Apane Charaname Valmiki Hoilo Tapodana Charaname Ajamila Pailo Mochana Charanama Shravane Samsara Bandha Guche Eno Prabhu Avatari Kale Yuge Nache Charanama Gai Sukha Narada Badaya Sahasravadana Prabhu Jara Guna Gaya Sarva Mahapraya Shita Che Prabhura Nama Se Prabhu Nachaye Deke Chacho Bhagavana Prabhura Ananda Deki Bhagavata Gana Anyone Gala Jori Koro Ye Grandana Sabara Angete Shove Shri Chandana Mala Aina Krishna Rase Hoi Vola Chateka Vaishnava Sava Kirtana Aveshe Najane Apana Teha Anya Jana Kishe Jaya Krishna Murari Mukunda Vanamali Aharnisha Gaya Sabe Hoi Kutuhali Aharnisha Bhakta Sange Nache Vishwambara Shanti Nahi Koro Sabe Sattva Kailevara Hemat Prabhu Vishwambara Nishiyava Shesha Macha Seka Prahara Hemata Ananda Hoy Navadipa Pure Premarase Vaikuntera Nayaka Vihare Esakala Punya Kata Jekore Shravana Bhakta Sange Kora Chanje Rahutare Mana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Charajana Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Pada Yuge Gana Jaya Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi O Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari 216. Yeah, look, she's got it. Yeah. I always miss everything. On Ekadasi, after decreeing Hari Kirtan, Mahaprabhu, who is the life and soul of the universe, begins to dance in ecstasy. Shivas.
The thunderous sound penetrates the universe, filling the whole sky. Everything inauspicious and awkward vanishes, annihilated.
Charmingly. One group is with Shivas Pandit and many others sing with Mukunda Dutt.
Their eyes brimming with tears, Gadadhara and the others become overwhelmed with transcendental happiness due to Mahaprabhu's kirtan.
When Vishnubar dances with great force, the earth trembles and everyone becomes afraid.
Mahaprabhu Vishnubar dances, rejoicing in his glory and Sankirtan. The rhythmic sound of little feet penetrates the absolute mind.
Under the weight of his ecstatic emotions, his garland is unable to remain around his neck. Breaking apart, it falls at the feet of the devotees.
The auspiciousness of Sri Harinath Sankirtan spreads in all four directions as the son of Jagannath Mishra dances in the middle of the devotees.
By hearing his name, the mindless in the material world are destroyed. That Lord, having ascended, dances in the middle of them.
His name is chanted by Sukadeva and Narada as they wander about. His glories are sung by the Lord of innumerable mouths. Sri Anantadev.
Sandal paste and garlands grace everyone's bodies. They sing in great bliss, forgetting their own selves due to immersion in Krishna Ras.
Entranced in Kirtan, all the Vaishnavas lose complete sense of their own bodies and of everyone around them.
Jai Krishna.
Hari Mukunda Vanamali. Day and night, Vishnu dances with the devotees, but they never become fatigued because their bodies are fully transcendental.
In this way, the transcendental happiness arises in the land of Navadvip, as the hero of Vaikuntha sports in green grass.
Gaurachandra and his associates remain in the hearts of those who hear this entire auspicious description.
offers this song at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and the moonlight Nityananda.
Jai Vrindavan Thakur ki. 216.
Did we do remembrances for Srila Lokshant Das Thakur on Monday?
Yes, we did. I think it's if Haridas Prabhu wants to has requested that we end class at 11. We all request, and you want them to go out in books. It's 216. It's always a race against time in this place. I know. I'm gonna leave. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Vajana Anukula. Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Prema Lati Karamula. Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori. Krishna Vasati Vasati Boli Parama Ajare Boli. Kodama Jai Sabastane Karala Brahmana Range. Se Sabastana Heribo Ami Pranaiva Katasange. Mridangavadya Shunite Man Avasara Sarajache. Gora Vihito Kirtana Shuni Anande Hirdoya Nache. Yugala Murti Tekiya Mora Paramananda Hoya. Prashada Seva Korite Hoya Sakala Prapancha Jaya. Chetina Grihe Bhajana Deki Grihete Golokabaya. Charana Sindhu Tekiya Ganga Sukana Simapaya. Tulasi Teki Judaya Pran Madhavato Shani Jani Goda Priya Shaka Sevane Jivana Shatakamani Bhakati Vinod Krishna Bhajane Anukula Payaja Pratidivase Paramasuke Swikara Koroyeta Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Anukula Bhakata Seva Paramasiri Premalati Karamula Premalati Karamula Jaya Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi Madhav Titi Jaya Ekadasi Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotees is most favorable for bhajan. Service to the pure devotees is the highest perfection and the very root of the creeper of prema.
In the company of devotees who have transcendental love, I will behold all the places where my Lord joyfully wandered. My heart always prays for the opportunity to hear the Mridanga play. Upon hearing a kirtan glorifying Sri Gaur, my heart dances in joy. Upon seeing the beauty forms of the divine couple, I feel the highest bliss. Honoring their prasad enables one to conquer the material world of Vairagi.
My home is transformed into Gloka Vrindavan when I see bhajan of Shri Radha and Krishna being performed there. When I look upon the Ganga, which is the nectar emanating from the Lord's feet, my happiness knows no bounds.
Whatever he finds favorable for Krishna bhajan, Bhaktivinoda accepts every day with the greatest happiness. Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
Jai. Jai. Jai. No.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Dev Jaya 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 Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya
Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tudalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namaha Yang Pravrjantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putri Ditanmayataya Taravo Banidus Tang Sarvabhu Taridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vinay Aparada Lakshay Chaptasya Kamad Charanaravindam Tavoivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe No Padita Shishabadha Kema Paravashishtam Pushti Maryadi Yormi Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smeraha Sodita Sri Dvijavadamani Panktya Mukti Shaktya Tadakim Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekhar Smeraha Samurali Manohar Radhika Rasikamam Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Kuru Prananata Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimakabjarasalola Satapada Radhika Kripan Sthiti Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Shekhara Sambadaya Dashane Trinam Vibho Dart Bhajamahendra Nandana Astu Mohantavati Ballabha Janma Janmani Mariswari Priya. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and all the assembled devotees, and the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, or my Shiksha Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Pan Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Siddhanti Maharaj. All right, so that was a lot of Sanskrit for you. So the last two songs that we were singing were about a special holiday. That's today. You've heard of Ekadasi? No. Yes? Sort of. Do you know about Ekadasi? Okay, so Ekadasi, Eka, Dash. Eka means, in Sanskrit it means 11. So on the 11th day of the moon, which happens twice, the 11th day of the full moon and the 11th day of the new moon, that day is a special opportunity for advancement in bhakti. On that day we observe certain rules and regulations, like we don't take grains beans, and several other, honey, sesame, and a few vegetables. Because according to the Bhagavad Purana, the end of the first canto, sins take shelter in grains and the other foodstuffs on those 2 days. So we avoid eating them on those 2 days. And it's not just for rules and regulations, but it has a lot of spiritual, it has health reasons. And because like there are, you know how you go to work and then you take a couple of days off every week and then you get refreshed? So similarly, there are lots of insects and bacteria in our body. And so they work hard digesting everything and assimilating everything. So they also need a break. So they get those 2 breaks a month, and that's good for the health. It's also good spiritually because on these 2 days, as we just sang, Krishna actually lives in those 2 days. So we look around, it's not a day, it's actually Krishna himself. So as Krishna resides there, we also want to reside there by observing the regulative principles. So those are the prohibitive rules. But then there are positive rules, like do a lot of extra speaking about Krishna, singing about him, and a lot of extra kirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna, and other kirtans, and going out to the public to sing and go out and give classes, going out and singing. So we're going to be doing extra of that today. And interestingly enough, there's another day today that's another holiday that coincides with Ekadasi. And it's a special Ekadasi today because like there are twice a month. That means there are about 30 in a year. But 7 of those Ekadasis are called Mahadwadasi, where the 2 days by the moon conjuncts in a certain way that the 11th day and the 12th day kind of merge together. And so that's called Mahadwadasi. Dwadasi means the 12th day of the month of the moon. So that's a especially auspicious day to observe these principles. So then the other holiday today is called Makhara Sankranti. And that's also a very scientific situation because on the Earth planet, you know, we learn in school even, there's the equator, and then there's the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And in Sanskrit, they're called the Bhaumadhya. These are called lines, right? You learn in school. There are lines. In Sanskrit, they're called rekas. So there's the Bhaumadhya Reka, there's the Karka Reka, and the Makhara Reka. The Makhara Reka represents what is the Sanskrit word for the Tropic of Capricorn. So this holiday is in relation to the sun, because the sun, it moves from Cancer to equator to Capricorn to equator to Cancer, and it just goes back and forth. It doesn't go beyond that. So when the sun comes closest to the Makhara Reka, that is called Makhara Sankranti. So this is a very special day because it's also the day of the descent of the Ganges River. Sometimes I read in Gurudev's lecture that this happened on the descent, and then another time I read it happened on Makhara Sankranti, and then today I read it's the same day. So there's a whole beautiful pastime about that in relation to a great saint, a lady saint named Gangamata Goswamini, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So because this holiday is in relation to the sun, which gives life to all living entities. It's very auspicious to make donations on this day. Like there was a great king named Maharaj Yudhisthira. He's a great devotee and a great king. He's described also in the Bhagavad Purana, first canto. So you can imagine he's the richest person in the world because he's the king of the earth. And so he gave so much on this day that his family had practically nothing left. And then when he went to take rest that night, he was overhearing that there were two birds flying overhead. And he knew the mystic power of being able to understand the language of the birds. So he could understand what they were saying. What they were saying was, one bird was saying to the other, have you ever seen a greater donor than Maharaj Yudhisthira? He gave away like zillions of dollars worth. And the other bird said, he's not that great a donor because he owns so much that he only gave, even though he gave so much, it's still not his full sum and substance of his possessions. But then there's a real donor named Reka Muni. So Reka Muni lives under a bullock cart, means he has nothing. But he takes the grains that have fallen from the plants. He takes the grains and he fries them, cleans them, and then fries them, and then distributes them. So he's the real donor. So when Maharaj Yudhisthira woke up the next morning, he asked Krishna, who is this Reka Muni? And Krishna took him to see the Reka Muni, and they offered their obeisances to Reka Muni. Big king, but still in the Vedic culture, the Munis, the saints, the sadhus are considered on a higher level, even if he's the king of the planet. So that king offered obeisances to the saint, and the three of them conversed. Okay, so on this very day, what Gurudev said on this about this day and about donations is that the very best and only real donation is to give Krishna consciousness, Hari Katha, the narrations about Krishna, and the songs about Krishna. So we'll be speaking about our schedule for today at the end of the class. So on this very day, the descent of the Ganges, anniversary of the descent of the Ganges, which is discussed in the 9th canto of the Bhagavad Purana, which is Makhara Sankranti, millions of people bathe in the Ganges as a holy ritualistic activity for their spiritual benefit. So on that day, this female saint named, her name at that time was Sachi, and she was very, very learned and realized in the Vedic literatures. And she was in the holy land of Jagannath Puri. And she was giving classes, everyone was coming. She was weeping, everyone was weeping. She was giving classes on Bhagavad Purana, in fact, Srimad Bhagavatam, particularly the 10th canto. And so now she has this deity. That's a whole long history in itself, how she acquired this beautiful deity of Krishna called Shamarai. And so on this day, when there were millions of people bathing in the Ganges, which happened to be hundreds of miles away from her home, any holy river was, you can bathe in the Ganges, in the Jamuna, in the Godavari, and otherwise any river or ocean. Santi wants her to go today to the ocean. She's going. So, let's see. So, on one hand, she thought, I can't go because I have my deity to take care of. But on the other hand, she was determined to go. I'm going. And then, but she didn't go. She was just determined in her mind to go. So that night, at midnight, all of a sudden, the Ganges came, which was hundreds of miles away, appeared right in front of her and took her in to the Ganges where there were millions of other people bathing. And then the current of the Ganges, very forceful current, took her into the Jagannath. You know Lord Jagannath? No, you know Lord Jagannath? Okay. He's a very interesting incarnation. Haridas is going to get his picture. And there's a beautiful history about that, which the girls can tell you too about. So the very famous temple in her city of Jagannath Puri is Lord Jagannath, meaning Lord of the universe. So the Ganges brought her into the temple, which was locked, and onto the altar, which was also locked. That was in the middle of the night. And then the next morning, when it was time for the morning Mangalartik singing, the doors opened and thousands of people came in, because in Jagannath Puri, it's not like here where you have at the most 15 people. Next week we'll have lots, but mostly it's 15 people. So they have thousands every day. So everybody, including the pujari, the priest, saw her there, and the priest said, so you give classes, everybody weeps, but now we see you're also a thief, because you came into the altar. How you got in here, we don't know. And what else would you be doing but figuring out how to steal the deity's ornaments? So they decided to put her in jail, which they did. So they said, how did you get here? She couldn't answer, because on one hand, no one is really supposed to be revealing to any outsider about their spiritual experiences or realizations, because then you lose it. Like the realizations are in the heart, and then if you open your heart through the tongue and talk about it, it's like camphor, very fragrant, burning camphor. And it's like if you open up the window, it just evaporates and flies out, and you lose everything. And so because of that, and because no one would believe her anyway, how she got into the temple, she didn't say anything. So they put her in jail. So that night, Lord Jagannath, who's another form of Krishna, gave a dream to the king. That is, you shouldn't have put her in jail. She's my special potency. From now on, she'll be named Ganga Mata Goswamini. Goswamini means a female Goswami or special saint. And Ganga Mata, she's named after the Ganga because it was the Ganga who took her into the temple. So from now on, she should be named Ganga Mata Goswamini. So anyway, this dream came to the king, and he said, oh, I want all of you, the king, your whole dynasty, to take initiation from her and learn from her and give her whatever donation she wants. And take her in a royal procession of a golden chariot and drums and lots of opulence. So that's exactly what happened. And then she continued giving her classes, and all the king's ministers and men all got initiated by her. So what was interesting, Gurudev explained, this is Gurudev who I'm quoting here, this first photo. So he explained that it was significant that she was thrown into Jagannath's temple. The significance is that Jagannath himself, who is non-different from Krishna, because the Ganges actually came from Jagannath or Krishna's lotus feet. As you remember, the Ganges came from the causal ocean through the coverings of the universe, and when it started traveling through the universe and through this earth, then it became known as the Ganges. Ganges is also originally a Saki, a friend of Srimati Radhika and Krishna. So, and Krishna is Lord Jagannath. So Jagannath, try to get this logic. So it was Jagannath himself who, in the form of the Ganges, since the Ganges comes from his lotus feet, in the form of the Ganges, Jagannath took her to his lotus feet. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so that is about Makhara Sankranti. I'm just going to go to, well, I guess we can discuss it now. So today is the day for giving donations, and you know that the best donation is Harikatha and Harinam. I remember Srila Bharati Maharaj always used to watch the kirtan party as it went out. Remember Vasanti and Ekadasi, and watch it as it came in. So if anybody gives a donation on this day, even materially speaking, in his next life he'll never be in want. All right, so on one hand, today is the second day of the men's ashram maha cleanup, and it's also the day of we have to go out so that we make a lot of extra benefit today. So how do you want to work it? Like how much cleaning is left on the inside and the outside? Because we definitely have to have at least 2 days.
We have some more to do. There's a bathroom that needs to be done, and the laundry room also needs to be done.
And the outside,
Outside,
front, back.
the front, back's nice. The front needs work. I'm gonna paint as well.
Good,
And
great.
also a little more mopping. We have to do.
Okay, great. So how do you want to work out the schedule so that you get both?
Are you also aware that there's a family, an Indian family? Oh. And she has a 12 to 1 appointment, so we won't be there when we give her money. Do you remember Hemant and his family?
Hemant?
His family?
Of course.
They'll be here at like 12:30, 1 o'clock today. They're gonna make a huge difference.
Oh. All right, we'll be back after. Where are we going today? I forgot. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we'll be back 1:15 or so. So he can get started. Anybody who's here, they can read him. But you don't need to be here, right? He does. Okay. So, yeah. So then would you like to clean until 12 and then meet them?
I don't know.
Well, there's no time to go out and be back by 12.
Could I pass for right now and then think about the other?
Think about it. So how do you want to work it since you're the coordinator?
Basically, I think we should clean till lunch. Take lunch, a little break, and then go out
Where? Well, then you have several hours, actually.
in the evening time.
After lunch, you'll go out until the program tonight.
Oh, that's right. There's a program tonight.
Unless you want to. Well, it's it's. Hmm? And what about the day?
That's how we could clean and then till lunch and then have lunch
And then go out.
after. Yeah, take a little break.
Because it's an extra day of going out, extra. And then, if you're in too much ecstasy, then don't come back. And if you are in medium ecstasy, you can come back for a wonderful Wednesday night with Vasanti. All right, so that's the schedule then. Okay, that'll give you the opportunity to clean, come back, and then, yes? Did you want to say something? Just making mudras? All right, so now Lochandas Thakur, because we missed Sunday or Monday for Lochandas Thakur. Any questions about Makhara Sankranti today? All right, so you want to hear a drop about Gangamata Goswamini, since she's the heroine of this? So her name, she was a princess, and her name was Sachi Devi. And she was never interested in material life, material men, and she just wanted to marry Krishna. So when she reached marriageable age and her parents wanted to get her married, she absolutely refused. I'm already married to Krishna, I don't need another husband. And so finally they agreed. She said, I'm going to Vrindavan to meet my husband. Vrindavan was like thousands of miles away. She was from Putia. So they made arrangements for her to go to Vrindavan, and there she was looking for some guru to take shelter of, and she met Haridas, and then he reincarnated as him. She met Haridas, who was a pure devotee in the line of Rupa Goswami, and she insisted on taking shelter of him. He said, well, if you get initiated by me, I can't maintain you. You'll have to live by begging. And I can't give you a place to stay. So she found one broken down, but I'm giving you my disciple, who's, she was about 50 years old at the time, elderly disciple, and she'll live with you. And so this princess started to wear all these ragged white saris and go out on what's called madhukar. Madhu is a bee, just begging little at each house. And she was very happy, and she was learning bhajan, learning deep meditation from her Gurudev. And then some years passed, and the elderly lady passed away, and now several years passed, and her guru ordered her, now I want you to go to Jagannath Puri, because Lord Chaitanya, who's a combination of Radha and Krishna, they combined to become a devotee. He's mentioned in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he's the one who spread the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra everywhere. So, why did I mention him? Right, so in his pastimes in Jagannath Puri, he transformed an impersonalist philosopher, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, into a pure devotee. This Sarvabhauma was the most famous teacher of impersonalism. God is not a person. We're ultimately that impersonal God. And there's really no difference between us. We're all one person. And there's no difference between us and God. We're all one person. But if that was true, then we wouldn't be an illusion now. But anyway, So Lord Chaitanya defeated him and he became a great devotee. So her Gurudev, Haridas, wanted her to establish that holy place. Like there's lots of holy places in Vrindavan and other cities of India where the Lord performed his pastimes. And that was one of them. That was one of the holy places he wanted her to establish it. So he said, go to Jagannath Puri and establish this place. There was nothing to commemorate that pastime. So she went there and she gave classes and the rest of it. So that's the story of Gangamata Goswamini. And then we missed the disappearance day of Lochandas Thakur a couple of days ago. And we don't want to miss glorifying the personalities, pure devotees, on their appearance and disappearance days, because if we miss it, we get obstacles in our path of devotion, and if we observe it, we get obstacles taken away, and we get a lot of auspiciousness in our path. So Lochandas Thakur is a disciple of Narahari Sarakara, who is in Krishna's pastimes, one of Krishna's gopis, Mani Manjari. And Lochandas Thakur wrote a book called Chaitanya Mangal, Pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And because he was concentrating on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories, he felt that he didn't sufficiently glorify Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first expansion. He's, in the 10th canto, it talks all about Balaram. So Balaram became Nityananda, and Krishna became Lord Chaitanya in order to preach about Krishna consciousness all over India, and then it came all over the world. So he felt really bad that he didn't sufficiently glorify Nityananda Prabhu. So he wrote many songs. We have a lot of songs in our songbook. So many of the songs in our songbook are by him and about Nityananda Prabhu. There were two other books that came out pretty much at the same time as his Chaitanya Mangal. That is Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagwat and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita. This whole row on top and more, we're missing some books, is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he was very renounced since boyhood, since babyhood. He was never interested in getting married. But in India, they make pre-marriages in Vedic culture. That is pre-marriage before the actual time when the bride and groom will live together. They get a formal agreement of marriage when they're sometimes as little as 5 or 7. And then when the girl reaches puberty, which is the time of starting to want a man, she already knows, I have my husband, I'm okay. And then when she gets, after some years, she goes to move into the husband's house. So he didn't want to get married, but when his parents saw that he was very renounced, because he just wanted to serve his guru, they went to his Gurudev, Narahari Sarakara, and said, please insist to him that he gets married. So that's what happened. And so when it was time for him to go to the bride's home to pick her up and bring her to his home, he didn't remember where it was because it had been so many years. So he asked one young lady who was in the vicinity, does she know where that house is? So she pointed the way. And then when he got there, he realized that she was that girl that he married. So when he was asking her, where's the house, he addressed her because according to Vedic culture, the male is supposed to address all females as Mata, Mataji, mother, so that there's no misconception of what's my relationship with her. Oh, she's kind of cute. So he called her Mataji, and then when he realized that she was the same girl that he married, from then on he just kept calling her Mataji. He was so renounced. And so maybe tomorrow we can sing extra kirtans during the darshan, or tonight if you're back. All right, so are there any questions or comments? See, we fit everything in, Vasanti. Or if you have any questions about your reading of the Bhagavatam. Okay.
What darshan's tomorrow?
Louder.
What darshan is tomorrow?
I meant bhajans.
I had a question. You mentioned earlier about how our realizations are like a camphor in our heart, and if we open that up and speak, then it will evaporate.
Well, burning camphor, because that's when the fragrance comes. But Haridas never puts enough camphor on the wick, and so you can't really smell it.
So,
And you have to put the camphor where the flame is going to be, not at the bottom, not just a few grains at the bottom. Yes.
and so then at the same time, we're supposed to speak about what we've heard, and that way we'll remember. So how do we balance those two things, or know when to keep? You understand my question?
Of course I understand it, and there's a very easy answer. When you say what you've heard, you're not saying what you realized. In fact, you could even put a PS to anyone you speak to. I have no realization. I'm just like a postal peon. I'm giving letters. Like, remember, were you upstairs when I gave that talk about my experiences with Srila Gurudev in relation to preaching? So I was quoting him in his humility, saying that I have no realization. I only weep that I can't chant well. There's no tears. There's no heart melting. I speak Harikatha to others, but I don't follow it myself. In fact, one time he said, I'm shallow. I don't have any depth to me. So that's the nature of a devotee. So if you're just repeating, and then you're PSing that, I pray that one birth I may realize this, then there's no problem.
In Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita.
Louder.
In Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, we hear that of the 6 symptoms of love between the devotees, numbers 3 and 4 are to share Pratikranati Guyam Akim Parichati, to share one's realizations with one's bhajan and to inquire about realizations from one's bhajan. So can you help us?
That means to share with the pure devotee and to hear from him how to do bhajan and, how to develop. If you go to the book, maybe that explains. Yeah. Any other questions from anybody? Nikunja?
Hare Krishna. So we hear often Ganga coming from lock of Shiva. Is it locks? Is this a misconception?
Locks means locks of hair.
Yeah.
All right, it was a big trip. So there's one version, and all the versions can be true by the inconceivable nature of the Lord. So in the spiritual sky, in Goloka Vrindavan, one day, Gangasaki was speaking with Krishna, and Radharani came, and she said, "Oh, who's this Saki?" And Krishna said, "You are my only Saki here, Radha." And in the meantime, Gangasaki was so embarrassed that she melted into water. I mean, it doesn't mean that she didn't exist anymore. And then she gradually became the Ganges. Then there's another version. That version is in the Navadvip Dham Parikrama book. Another version, which is more popular, is that the incarnation of Krishna, called Vamandev, took a big giant form and took three steps. The first step, he covered the earth. The second step, he went through the coverings of the universe. You can see there on the cover of that book. Does it have a universal covering? Yeah, it doesn't show the covering of the universe. Does it? Yeah, right. So every universe has a covering of that's larger than the space of the universe. 10 times larger than the space, there's a covering of earth. 10 times that, there's a layer of fire. 10 times that, there's a layer of water. 10 times that, this is the picture of Vamandev taking his second step. Then there's a layer of ether. 10 times that, there's a layer of false ego, and so on. So it's a very big, like a football, it's a very big, thick cover, or like a coconut. So when Vamandev put his foot through the universe, outside the universe was the causal ocean, the ocean of cause, which is the resting place of all the different universes. So Lord Brahma wanted to wash his lotus feet with the water from the causal ocean, which comes from him. And then that needed to come down because at the same time, or a different time, there was a king. It's so complicated. In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there was a king named Sagara. And somehow or other, there was a sacrificial horse that got stolen. So his sons went to find the sacrificial horse. And the sacrificial horse went to Lord Kapila Dev's ashram. So they blamed, who was just meditating, so they blamed him for stealing the horse. So because they committed an offense, their sin burnt their bodies to ashes. And so there needed to be somebody in the dynasty who could deliver them. The only thing that could deliver them would be the Ganges River. So many kings in his dynasty failed. And then the next one in line was King Bhagirath. And the Ganges was very pleased with his austerities. But she said, but if I come down to the earth now as I am, the force of my waves, the force of my waters will just go right through the earth. So I need some way to bring me down gently. So Bhagirath did austerity to Lord Shiva so that he could carry her gently through the universe in his locks. And so that's why sometimes you see a picture of Lord Shiva with a lady's head and then water coming out of her mouth. So keep reading Srimad Bhagavatam. All these complex ancient histories are there. Do you read Bhagavatam?
Yeah, I've been reading some and what we've been reviewing, and I go back and study more.
Right, yeah. There's nothing like this philosophy. We can proudly say no one can come near this philosophy. All right, so anything else? Look, it's 10:58. Perfect. Gaur Premanandi, Makhara Sankranti ki jai, Lochandas Thakur ki jai, Gangamati Goswamini ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Hari, Nitai Gora Haribo, Haribo, Go Premanandi. Okay, so the men can go over. I hope to be there later. And that's it. You have no questions yet? You enjoying? Okay, it's dense. It's not some Mary Had a Little Lamb story.
I love this because it's a more scholarly treatment than the narrative I've been
Right.
so it really speaks to me.
That's great. Because you're like a scholar, Sanskrit study. Why a beautiful young lady like you would be interested in Sanskrit and the Vedas is only because